This podcast is brought to you by the Wren Bar. The Wren Bar is a new modern bar in Woodford, County Galway, which offers a host of live music and quality drinks.
So delighted now to be joined by Jeffrey Lynskey. We have already brought the launch of the Galway Senior Football Power Rankings, but this weekend it is the Galway Senior Hurling Championship and the Intermediate Hurling Championship that gets underway. So we said there'd be no better time to bring Power Rankings to the supporters and for people involved in the club championship to get people talking before the action does kick off. Jeff, was this a hard task for you?
No, not really. Probably a bit harder with the intermediate side of it, trying to work out, say, the top six and the rest of after that. Look, it is what it is in terms of, obviously Thomas's are going to be top, Loughrea second, and then you're kind of looking at it based on form from last year, Clarenbridge and Sarsfields, and then you're expecting Turlockmore to come with a push, and then you're looking for, say, the one team that's going to come from that pack in the group stage now, because there's two of each group. That first game is all important.
So you've based a lot of your rankings on last year.
Yeah, the league form, Loughrea won the Senior A League, and this year they're back happy in the final. And then you were looking at results elsewhere. The lads are telling me in Loughrea that Turlock are the team this year, so trying to take the lead off themselves a small bit. But I still look. You'd have to fancy still St. Thomas's. Like, people are saying, they know what they can't keep. Look, they're going for 6 in a row. I know David is out, but look, you have Shane Cooney back and David Sherry back. On top of their know-how and what they've done over the last couple of years, obviously they're the ones to take out. Outside of that, if the weather was better, I would definitely say Sarsfields. But the pitch is going soft with the amount of rain we have last month. Their type of forwards, really, apart from, say, Kevin and Joseph and these lads, they're light and they're quick and they need top the ground. But look, it's going to be interesting championship, Paul, from the point of view of it's now 2 out of each group and there's no room for error. So, like, you lose your first game, the next 2 games are awful important, and you're still not guaranteed to go through. If teams finish on equal points, it's going to be down to scoring.
Jeff, I know we talked before, obviously this is one of your first years away from the club championship, previously being with Lee Meadows and before that Loughrea. Are you missing it at all now as championship approaches, or is it just, I'm glad not to be involved in it?
No, I'm off to Greece Saturday, so for a week, so no, not really, Paul, no, to be honest with you. I'm fairly busy, look, in my own club still with the underage stuff, doing a bit of coaching in Headford as well, so I'm fairly clocking up the hours from an underage coaching point of view, and it's just nice to get headspace, because look, when you're in the middle of it, the adrenaline is on full flow the whole time, and there's very little headroom this time of year, because look, you're trying to get the lads ready, you're trying to get them focused, you have distractions of race week this week, you're trying to make sure that you have everything lined up so that the whole group will perform. And if you don't win that first game, you're chasing your tail, and it's a lot of hard work trying to get everyone back up on the horse again and to go again to get the result in the next game.
If you were involved, you prefer this format to what we had previously?
Yeah, look, to my experience, first 2 years in Loughrea was this format. We lost our first game my first year, and then I think we bet Capitag the next game. We had to beat Tina by 5. We did that. The following year, the same thing happened again. We lost our first game, and we had to beat Sarsfields by 6 in the last game, which was done. So, like, there's no room for you look. Whatever work has been done had to be done over the last 4 or 5 months, and if you have lads coming back, it's very difficult to come up to speed. And with the training that you'll be doing anyhow, you'll probably only get 2 good sessions in anyhow in between games. The Wednesday session after the Sunday, it'll be recovery. You'll have a session on the Friday and the Sunday, and Wednesday obviously then will be lighter sessions. So whatever work that's done now is in the bank, and you're just hoping that your big players stay injury free, and at the tail end of your panel, the guys from say 17 to 21 stay fully tuned in and ready for action.
Just Jeff, before we get into the rankings here, as I mentioned, we're going to have senior hurling championship rankings. We're going to have senior B hurling championship rankings and intermediate. So we've all angles covered here. You just mentioned there about peaking at the right time, managing your load. That's what it's going to be about for clubs. Is it hard bringing county players back in now to the fold and mixing it as with the club players? Is that a challenge at all?
Yeah, for the lads who didn't see any minutes at all, obviously their confidence wouldn't be great. For some of them, it's probably a new release of life, but you're just hoping when they come back that they come back in a good mental and physical state to you. Because if they don't, you're going to spend an awful lot of work trying to get them back up again. The lads who had good county campaigns, they'll be okay. They probably had the week off after the game, let off a bit of steam. Might have gone on holidays. They'll come back okay. But like, it is a challenge, Paul, you know, with lads going back to based on their form or based on time that they've got. But look, they're the challenges you face at senior A, senior B level, intermediate level, trying to juggle all that.
You can see the power rankings here, I presume, Jeff, can you?
Yeah.
So we have from 1 to 8 here. As we mentioned, the senior this year, we have 16 teams involved. I'll just run through the groups quickly before we get into the power rankings. So 4 groups of 4, as I mentioned, top 2 advance to the quarterfinal. So Group 1, Tommy Larkins, Clymer-Daly, Clarenbridge, Oranmore, Mary. Group 2, Portumna, Turlockmore, Gort, St. Thomas's. Group 3, Mike Cullen, Loughrea, Captagal, Kilkennyron. Group 4, Castlegare, Ardran, Crofwell, and Sarsfields. As you mentioned, St. Thomas's are the standard bearers of the Senior Hurling Club Championship at the minute, Jeff. They're still the standard bearers for you and still going to be the team to beat.
Yeah, they're going for the 6th in a row. As I said already, David's out, but Shane Cooney back and David Sherry with the group there that they have. You'd still fancy them to come out of it. They said in Turlockmore went toe to toe last year. I think Turlock gave them a serious hiding at the time, and Thomas has learned enough left from that game. But with the group format this year, you won't be afforded that luxury of slipping up. It could cost you.
Injuries and the way Thomases have been able to adapt, is that what makes them the standout team? Because I don't think there's been a year in the last few years where they've had a full team.
Last year they 2 out, and Fenton was out in ACL probably before that, and they were probably unlucky in a few club championship campaigns to keep members out again. And that's the hardest part about it, Paul, is the group stage. The week on, week off, it's fine to a degree, and it does give you time to recover. If you win, you don't mind the break. If you lose, you want to gain the following weekend, because look, you come in and you review it. Lads are disappointed performances. You're trying to pick things up again, and then you just want it to get next game to be on probably straight away. But look, they've got that gap weekend. It does help if there's a certain amount of injuries. But you're looking at it here with Thomas' side of it. Loughrea, Clarenbridge have a lot of depth in their squad. Loughrea are probably stacked now with probably 20-21 players that can come on and not weaken it. Clarenbridge are probably in a similar boat. They're probably 18 or 19 guys there that you can count on. Sarsfields have a good blend. I just like to say, look, pass on my condolences to the Cooney family.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
past of Jimmy as well. Like, very sad, lovely man. Turlock, poor year last year. New management team with Darren Shocks, Brian Holland, Welchie and the lads. So they'll be highly motivated now this year. Tommy Larkins are probably in trouble. Jason's out and Rona Murphy's out, so they're big losses. They might see them towards, if they qualify, towards the quarter-final stage, but you don't know. Cappy had a good league, could have won the league final. Relying on a lot of young fellas now. And I'd say the one curveball in the championship for me would probably Ardmore Mary, with the profile of players, the age they have, and the younger lads that are coming in. and Brian O'Connell in there helped them out from a coaching point of view after a successful campaign with Clare Miners.
Yeah, so just from one day there, so obviously first place St Thomas's, second place Loughrea, third place Cambridge, fourth Sarsfields, fifth Turlockmore, sixth Tommy Larkins, seventh Capetigal, and eighth Ormond Murray. A lot of the people involved in the coaching you've had involved with your various teams, and so you know what they bring to the table. For Loughrea, can they think back to last year at all, or do they park that now and it's a new season?
I look, they would have obviously taken a few weeks to get over the hammer blow of losing the replay. But look, they gave lads a break. Those lads away. Did a good league campaign from the point of view of one or two guys they unearthed it. So like they'd move on fairly quick. They were away at Christmas as well, you know, on a team holiday. So that would have been good for them in terms of processing what went on. But look, all be told that they still had a brilliant year, getting to county final. Should have won it the first day, had a chance the second day, and that's all learning, you know. So look, they'll be thereabouts again, guaranteed. I think they're matched up with Turlockmore and Thomas's group, Paul, aren't they, in the draw for the quarterfinals. So that's going to be an interesting tie there if that materializes again. But like as I said to you, you're looking down through it, the management teams. A lot of clubs are gone internal now again, which is interesting. If you look at it there, Thomas of Kennett, Loughrea have all the boys there. Cambridge, David Ford is back. Sarsfields, you've Franco Madden. And a lot of local lads helping out. Turlockmore, I've made reference to the lads involved there. Tommy Larkins and Noel Murphy, Sarah Farrell helping out.
Have you ever seen as big as a management team with a club team as Loughrea?
Have I? Probably not. But if they're all doing their job and they all have a role, you're fine. If your manager trying to manage all of them, that's a different story now, because they'll all want their slice of the cake. But look, it's like any family, they'd have their roles, I'd say, and Tommy probably has an envious job of trying to keep them all in line. But no better man than Tommy Kelly to keep them all in line. Yeah, you're looking at it. It's just interesting, like, because a lot of clubs over the last couple of years were looking for the high profile name to come in and to wave the magic wand, but a lot of clubs are probably now looking internal and probably stumbled upon the best formula for them. So that's fairly interesting there regarding the top 8 guys in terms of the management there. And I think Stephen Craven's over Cappy, he was brought back there, you know. So yeah, look, it's going to be interesting from the point of view of that first game, because you're going to have to hit that ground running. You have to perform to the highest level, and lose that first game. I know that's like it's you're on your corner as a manager, getting the group back together again and refocused.
Speaking though of a club that bring in a high profile name, it's probably Cambridge, who are the team that've done it this year. They've brought in Niall Moore, and we've seen the work he's done with Artscoil Reach at Harty Cup level. He's a big name to get in. And would you agree here that kind of Cambridge and Turlockmore and Sarsfields all are kind of fall, and even Loughrea as well, that are kind of falling under this category where they've had success now at underage, and a lot of these players are now playing at senior level?
Yeah, they're doing an awful lot of work in all these clubs in terms of developing their homegrown talent, and sometimes an outside influence will help. But the one thing Niall Moore hasn't got is knowledge of Galway hurling and club hurling in particular. But the lads around them will have that, and they'll bridge that gap for them. Last year they did a serious management team as well, you know, and like the Cambridge above anyone, with the amount of minor A's that they've won, you would feel that they should have won at this stage, or won over the next 3 or 4 years. And if they don't, that's probably talent that they haven't tapped into or developed or got things right within the setup. And it's difficult because look, they've been up against Thomas's and Loughrea know themselves. It's year 4 now for the lads management team. They'd feel like, the time is up. The essence for them too. Like, they've Johnny and Paul Hoban and these lads in their early 30s. So like the boys are no spring chickens, and they know, look, that they feel that they left one behind them last year, and they'll be looking to make amends this year.
You have Cambridge there as well, third. Sarsfield's fourth, as you mentioned. They'll feel like this is a big year. They're kind of like, if you're looking, obviously, Thomas's and Loughrea are the two teams that you could say they're the two kind of front runners. They might be a bit ahead of the rest, but Cambridge, Sarsfield's, Turlock, like as I mentioned, they're underage, but for these teams, they probably want to deliver now because they're always associated with the words potential. This could be our year.
Yeah, and Turlock probably left one behind them as well 2 years ago, and at the right during the COVID years. But what I'm hearing outside the camp is they've got their mojo back. It'll be good crack watching the boys on the sideline, because I know all three of them fairly well. That'd be worth interest for to see the lads in action on the sideline. But sure, look, that's all part and parcel of it too. There's a game on the sideline as well as a game on the pitch. Cappy will be, a few of the lads are gone from last year. That the more seasoned lads.
Paul Claffey probably the biggest loss.
Yeah, Claffey's the biggest loss there. Will Stephen Craven come on? I know he's playing a bit of junior A. So you probably see a bit of game action towards the last 9 or 10 minutes of most matches, because he still win a puck up for Ian College Hassel. But like, you're looking at it and you're saying, right, who's going to come out with the pack really? And a lot of it will be down to, if you have a good first and second game and you've qualified, can you rest lads, or have you found your flow and found your rhythm, whereby you've got a full clean bill of health. And you're looking at Clarenbridge there regarding their forwards and who they have. You'd be expecting big things from Gavin Lee this year. Obviously, Evan will be scored, and that'll be fine. King Salmon is inside, Mark Kennedy and these lads, Barry Daly, Mike Daly, all these lads. That they wouldn't be happy with what happened last year. I think Brian is back, Bannon is back. Them guys are all back, so they're all good hurlers, and if they get the bit between their teeth, they will definitely probably in county semi-final stage again. It's whether which they have the know and the hunger to get on to the next level. And as I said already, look, Sarsfields were there last year again, to be fairly disappointed with how they performed. But again, you're just looking down through it. Out of the other 5 to 8 teams, you're looking at Turlock and probably Ardmore Mary for me. They could be curveballs. With Ardmore Mary especially could be a curveball for a semi-final.
Just with that, and would just like thank Claude Gagan as well. He provided with the programme this week. It's just great because you don't know what kind of players are available or not. Daniel Nevin is a name I don't see either on the Capital programme this year. I'm not sure if he's not around now, but like, he doesn't seem to be there this year as well with Paul Claffey. It's probably been good in that sense for Capital, because they probably have had a full team, but like those losses are very significant.
Yeah, and two experienced guy. Paul was away for a while, came back last year. Dan, I think he's away foreign, what I heard. But it's like anything else, Paul. A lot of these teams, like Thomas, will never really lose anyone for travelling. They might be told to go away, but they're told to come back as well. Or else, most teams there outside of Thomas's, they'll be losing 1 or 2 lads probably every year to that kind of gap year. Most lads go on in their early 20s after college, which is fine, understandable, or to go to America. But like Cappy, yeah, they're big losses for them, really, to be honest with you. But like, it's like anything else. They had a good league campaign. They went with the younger lads, and it's like anything else with this chalk and cheese between league and championship, and every manager team there in the top 8 will know that also.
Are one more Mary or dark horses for the championship?
Not to win it, no, but possibly could get to a quarter-final, if not a semi-final.
That, as we mentioned, is 1 to 8, and I'm sure we're going to have a few clubs coming in here just to find where they should be higher, but that's what it is all about. I'm going to move on to the next slide from teams 9 out to 16. You can see that, Jeff, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 9th Clymer Daly, 10th Crofwell, 11th Castlegare, 12th Gort, 13th Ardrahan, 14th Mycullen, 15th Portumna, and 16th Kilkenarran. Clymer Daly just outside the top 8 here for you, Jeff.
Yeah, it's probably based on the management they had 2 years ago, are back again, and again, you're looking at it from the point of view of the forwards that they have, backs that they have, and the management team that have the experience with these lads. So just about outside the top 8. Crockwell and Andy Cohen back. Have they got enough scoring forwards? That's the question. Castlegare, last year wasn't a great year for them, but like the caliber player that they have, still, like, you know, they still have enough to challenge and to get into that top 8 this year. Gort had a poor year last year, apart from, I think it was 1 win, Paul. They had 1 win. Our Drahan club that's coming as well, a lot of underage players coming through. They're fairly well balanced now in terms of say their back 6 midfield. Again, it's the inside forward line. You're looking at Keenan Fai's in at 14. I don't know if Sean Gardner's around now. 10 is at wing forward, 40 forwards inside. They'll challenge a few teams, but senior is a different kettle of fish now from senior B from last year. And then look, after that, Mycullen, Portumna, Kilkenarran. If there's one team that could upset 1 or 2 teams, it would probably be Mycullen for me, with the caliber.
You've seen that last year as well as them. Yeah,
and we had a titanic struggle with them over in Ballinasloe, and they were well deserved their 1 point win. But I just know a lot of the young fellas that they have there. They've got pace, they've got seared pace. Full backline could be questionable. That's one area like they need to improve from last year. They were leaking off of the goals, but there could be a team that could move up the rankings there. Portumna, you don't know where they're at, and if they're another team that have the one that's another 20B last year.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of talent coming through, and it's blooding them in with Joe and Andy Smith and the rest of them. But again, they could test teams as well. They could fairly go from 15th to 9th in 8 weeks' time, Paul. And Kilkenarran, they're there probably just because, you know, last year and the lads that they've lost. And look, they'll be fighting tooth and nail to keep their senior A status.
Just the team that you did mention there, I want to mention them, Gort. You mentioned they struggled last year. Now, I don't know, you probably can't read too much into this, but they did have a very good display in the Kilmacud Sevens this year. I think they ran out winners in the end. They had a poor year last year. Do they still have enough, though, to cause a surprise along the way in the senior championship?
Obviously, Aidan retired, the Mullinses are gone. You're looking at the age profile again. Daly's gone. The age profile again for them would be very young. Like they're probably most seasoned guys up top would be Richie Cummins and Aidan Hilbert.
Now Craig Lally's listed at 14. I don't know.
So yeah, is that going to happen? Probably centre forward. You know. But look, they always have hurlers. That's why looking at their sevens team there with Paddy Cummins, Jason Donoghue, Ben O'Donovan. These lads, look, they're all good hurlers. Like what they'll have is you can always count on guards from 1 to 15. The old dogs are probably gone, that that got them over the county finals. But their team, yeah, they could push possibly, move up the rankings. But I'd say, Paul, okay with the rankings there. The only teams there that you could foresee, and again, it's probably down to scoring the forwards, is Castlegar could move up the rankings, and Clonmacnoise can move up. After that, it depends. And
is that where kind of all these teams then, kind of after Clonmacnoise and Castlegar, maybe just fall into category of maybe struggling for scores throughout the championship?
It's getting to that. This time of year, looking at probably 20 plus points in the championship to get you over the line. And do you have an accurate free taker? That's why if you look at it there with Clonmacnoise, Crockwell, Castlegar, Gorta, Dran, Cullen, Portumna, you're looking at it and say, right, Joe, Portumna have Joe, Cullen, up front. They'll have lads there that they have certain shooters, like James Bradley was taking the frees last year. Colin Cunningham, I think one of the Davrins definitely back from an ACL. Ian Noon will be at 6 for them. Ardrahan, as I said, made reference to them already regarding what they have up top. If you close down Keenan Fahy, you're probably there a quarter of the way there with them. I know Fordy will be flying fit for this time of year. He loves the Hearts run over the winter, so I'd be interested to see what Fordy does come August. Castlegar could be the ones, like if you look at the inside line, I think they had down the programme there. Paul, I think the inside line was Oisin Connolly, Jack Coyne, and was it Killian O'Callaghan? I think that was on the programme.
Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, 13 to 15.
Yeah, 13 to 15. So like, if Jack fires, like, and we were talking off air there regarding which players do you still think that they could, if they have a good club campaign, would Henry look at? I think if Jack stays injury free and has a good club campaign, he could be someone that Henry could look at come the end of the championship, bring into a senior squad.
That'd be interesting, because we all know he's a great minor under 21. Could he deliver a championship? Because he's definitely has shown promise, show that he's worthy, but being injury free is obviously key for him there. That is 9 to 16. These senior rankings will be changed with the action. So based on results, team will go up and down, it'll jump. So these are not going to be the permanent senior rankings or anything. Before we get into Senior B, because obviously your own club are there this year, Jeff, does anyone who's in Senior B want to be there at all?
To answer the question, no, Paul. But you're there because you haven't produced the goods over the last 2 years, and the form table doesn't lie. And I think it was last year, the fixtures were fairly fair and the groups were fairly fair in terms of, if you're good enough, you finished in the top 2, you got out of it. So look, there was no hard luck stories on my side of it anyhow. So look, you're there on merit, you're there based on your results over the last 2 years. And if you're good enough, and you get your house in order, you'll go up. And no more than the case with them teams there in Senior A. If your preparation have been shambolic over the last couple of months, you're going to pay the price, like, because there's a lot of seniors clubs there that put a huge amount of work there over the last 7, 8, 9 months, and you will be found out inside Nathan Wright, Pierce Stadium and Bannistown over the next couple of weeks if you haven't got the work done.
Yeah, we'll just move on to the slide here now. 1 to 8 in the Senior B rankings. Firstly, Mellows. Second, Athenry. Third, Kilnadine Leitrim. Fourth, Mulla. Fifth, Hasgrafona. Sixth, Port Pierces. Seventh, Clymer. Eighth. With the Senior B, it's 2 groups of 4. First place goes straight into semi-final, and then it's second and third cross play each other in the quarter-final. With this now, Jeff, for you, I presume you don't want to see your own club here. You don't want to see them in Senior B for another year. Did you already seem like they might have too much for some of the teams in Senior B?
Like you're basing this again on last year, but then you're looking at the league campaign. So Mellows give Athenry a big hammer in the last game of the league. But I know Athenry had a lot of players probably gone to the States or weren't available. Hasker seemed better organised this year. I don't know where Muller are at. I'd say Carl Durbin can tell you that one. Leitrim and Nadima have serious forward potential in the forwards that they have. So again, like with Senior B, if you've scored in the forwards and you're solid and you're good shape and structure, you'll be okay. You'll get to a quarter final. What decides then whether you get to a semi-final or final or not is striking that balance between defence and attack. Clymer will come with fire and brimstone, and they will catch a lot of clubs off guard. That side of the championship is going to be fairly interesting over in East Galway. So like it's Desi and the lads there. We would have played them in a challenge at Christmas with the college, and for 40 minutes, like they gave it hammer and tongs against us. Probably run out of steam the last 20, but like they came organised, kind of high octane game plan, in your face, tackling hard, and you know there'll be huge spirit there within the group, and they will be organised. We would have played Mulla, Hasker and Park Pierces last year. Serious battle against Pierces over in Loughrea. But I think a Hasker could be the ones to kind of push into a top four if Mulla aren't organised. Athenry have Jack Carr back. There's a few lads in the States that are due to come back. So that, as you said there, and you alluded to Paul, this is fluid, like no more than Senior A. This could change a huge amount over the first two games. That's my get out of jail card there now straight away. But like if you're asking me who what, I'd say dangers there for Mellows would be Leitrim, Nadima and Athenry.
Hasker, we seen they had that glorious run a few years ago. Can they develop that form again?
Look to have Sean Blaine, Owen Delaney, the two Manions. It's like last year, Park was probably not fit for the championship, the club championship, any especially. I knew by kind of looking at him in the previous game that Bannister he wasn't 100%. Look, they could very well, you know, put in a huge effort compared to last year. Will they have enough quality that's going to test the other teams and then the group is the question. I'd say Mellows and Athenry are probably better balanced out of the rest of the teams outside the top two, but I'm kind of marking my card here. I do expect Clymer to kind of come with a push. Would they have enough quality or not to get into the top four is a question. Only time will tell. And then after that, then you're looking at it's Killinane and Leitrim for me that could cause an upset to the top two there.
There's a danger in this too, Jeff, really, is if some teams don't go in fully focused into the Senior B championship, then you can easily fall into the relegation battle that's going to be here.
Yeah, and it's race week in Galway and a lot of distractions this week, especially for teams around the city. That was something that I came across last year for our first game. But yeah, you need to make sure that you have the work done over the last 6-7 months, because you won't get time, Paul, in the middle of the championship to go changing too much. A lot of these teams, as well as the reason in Senior B is they're probably have 15 to 17 guys that they can rely on if they get injuries. If they get 2 or 3 injuries, it could hurt them. And then if you're fortunate enough to have a junior A team that's going running in tandem with them, your numbers will be good in training, and you will have lads then that you will be able to use come championship.
Here the Senior B power rankings, 4 groups of 4, and the action in Senior B gets underway this weekend as well. Moving to the intermediate hurling rankings, from 1 to 8 here we have Clean Dunairy, Mealich Aircourt, Rahon Newcastle, Ceylon, Kinvara, Ballindereen, Carmore, Clembridge. Jeff, I was going through the intermediate teams. I looked at Tina Aberdeenary, I looked at the manager, and I almost got this shock straight away. Matty Kenny, former Dublin manager at the helm this year. I don't really think there's ever been as big as high-profile manager in the intermediate championship in quite a few years now.
Yeah, and when he came back this year, the first question I asked is Paul Colleen back, because he's the kind of spiritual leader of the group. He's their main talisman, centre back. So Paul is back. He's Liam Hodgins with him as well, and Kevin Devine there helping out with Matty. So in terms of preparation and know-how, there's no better man in Matty getting these lads organised. So look, they probably had a tough 2 years. The game to get us in Loughrea over in Bannistow 3-4 years ago. That last game was a tough, hard game in Bannistow. And I suppose the reason I have them number one is Shane Loney up front. Ben Moore is back as well from his travels. They've better balance probably than most teams in intermediate.
Were they too good to go down?
Well, look, you only go down, Paul, based on your results. You're never too good to go up or down. It's the here and now when you put in the effort and the work in. And if you fall short, it's because the commitment levels weren't right. You didn't train hard enough, and the group didn't remain focused during the year. So look, yeah, their opportunity now with Matty at the helm to go back up again. So that'll be interesting from the point of view there regarding Tina. Will there be a step ahead of a lot of the teams? I think they will. Aircourt last year fell short against Clymer in an awful day in Bannistow. Probably didn't have enough quality up top. Rahul Newcastle had a good year. A lot of young fellas coming through as well. But again, it's probably, when you look at it, it's going to boil down to the quality of hurler you have. And I just think Tina have more quality in their first 15 than any other team in intermediate.
Jeff, just on that, one of the comments we got in one of the most recent podcasts was actually talking about John Fleming. You had him at Tiverton level for Meath Aircourt, and a terrific player, probably one of the players now to look forward to over this championship. Is he a player that, like, you know him personally, will he be looking out to get back into the Galway fold? Because he definitely has shown promise.
Like he won an All-Star with us at Fitz level, Paul. That was 2 years ago. I tried to get him back again last year because I understand the qualities he brings to the group. As an inside forward, there's no better man in terms of winning possession, taking his man on and creating a score or getting a score. You can play him anywhere from the half back line up. I was disappointed he was let go, because in order for John to achieve his full potential, he needs to be an intercounty setup. But again, look, I know with Henry, like, in fairness to him and the rest of the boys managed team, to go to an awful lot of club games. And I'm sure that they'll be keeping an eye, and they're going to be casting the net far and wide again. And John is another lad that you could say could come into the reckoning again as a senior intercounty panelist. But I was hoping he would stay in there for a year or two. And a lot of that's down to just confidence as well, and getting opportunities. And it's a tough station for the lads in there if they're not getting game time. I seen that last year with Jack Hastings and Stephen Barrett. You can see with their confidence levels coming back, you know, it's a tough, long year for them sitting on the bench. And that's just the way it is. Like, you have a choice: either serve your apprenticeship or move on, you know, and it's a difficult one for them. But John is still at the age profile. I see he's 23 now, going on 24. And listening to Nicky Brennan the last day on the last podcast, he was adamant that even if Kilkenny, they're going to have to look at the guys from 25 to 28, 29, more seasoned club players, rather than just always pulling from the minor and under 20 ranks. That in Kilkenny, they'll probably go looking after the lads from 25 to 29 that maybe had no part, like Tom Phelan had in underage squads, was only fleeting appearances at under 20 level. So for the lads, it's to find that rough diamond out there that might be there, that you can work with and hopefully get right during the course of a league. Because look, we probably do need fresh faces and more players that with a bit more hunger to test the lads that are existing on the panel.
Is it fair to say here in intermediate that from first and second there's a gap then?
Yeah, Canberra have players coming. They could definitely move up. They could definitely move up. The rank in Silent had a really good year last year. They bet Canberra in the quarterfinal.
Keelan Craven looks like a serious injury doubt now, which doesn't help Cylon.
Okay, and then
he's listed as number 30 in the program, and I've just heard he's struggling with a knee for most of the year. Hasn't played a lot of games so far.
Okay, Cardmore of Decky Welch back, so he'll have them organised. So they're the one team that will probably jump up the rankings, Paul. They could end up. I don't see Conor Flaherty on the 30 there either.
Yeah, he's come back from the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going. They're the one team that could jump up into top 4. Of the ones there that are in the top 8.
Stanbridge's second team, they're in 8th place. You feel that's a strong team this year?
I wouldn't know an awful lot of them on it. Again, I'm based on club form last year and the players that I would know, from Tina Denary and Aircourt and Canberra and Ceylon, Ballinderring, our team as well. They've had a few guys at underage squads. You'd be looking to them. Maybe pushing probably up one place, but no. Look, I'd be fairly comfortable with what I picked there. Cardmore probably will be the outliers in that, in terms of they could jump up into a top 4 spot.
Do you think Ceylon and Rahim can challenge for honours?
South Ceylon are in trouble then with their main chief scorer. Rahun, a lot of work underage, a lot of young fellas coming through again onto that. But like you're still relying on Tony Og at 6, Og is about 37 or 38. Yeah, but look, Tina, I was an the team for me, to be honest with you. If they keep their main guys fit, Shane has always been good looking after himself, in fairness to him. Shane been nearly 28, 29 now, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, another guy that got the unbelievable score back in 15. You're expecting him to push on, and for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. Yeah, look, from 9 to 16 there, Paul.
Yeah, 9 to 16. Charlotte Moore, second team, obviously. Abbey Knockmoy, Ballygare, Crofwell, second team. Annadown, Kiltormer, Kilbakenty on Spidale. I get the sense from 9 to 16 here there isn't a lot between any of these teams.
Yeah, look at Abbey could push up, Annadown could push up. Crockwell had a really good junior 18 2-3 years ago. They could. Ballygar, I have a sneaky feeling could cause problems. They have a fairly balanced unit there within their team. They won't have much distractions with Jew players, I'd say, Paul. Apart from a few of them, they'll be fairly focused. So like they're probably the one team that, yeah, I could see them pushing into the top 8. I'd be interested to see how they get on, really, to be honest, intermediate. But for me, probably the most exciting team intermediate will be Teen Abjanary. I just think they're going to be ahead of a lot of teams.
Then, just to finish, you see Unspidale struggling this year.
Yeah, look, I'm just basing that on results last year. A lot of them lads will be playing senior football as well, and senior hurling, and trying to juggle senior A football and hurling. It's a difficult task. But look, they're probably, as per normal, will probably get 1 or 2 results that will go against the head. So look, yeah, it'll for me, look, with a lot of these teams, it's based on they probably have 1 to 15 outside that. They could struggle, but again, I'm kind of harping on about it. I just think Tina will have too much for a lot of teams on intermediate.
Yeah, but it's a bit later. Like Finian only hasn't been with the footballers, and he'd be big loss too for them. But they're the intermediate power rankings, and that's all on our first edition of the Galway Club Hurling Championship power rankings.